Hey, David Rocket here from DRX Designs. I'm going to give you a quick rundown on how to set up 3D Studio Max properly to work for there.com and show you a few other little things. The first thing is setting up the units scale. As you probably know, there.com uses meters. Now this just displays the unit scale. That's not actually setting up 3D Studio Max, just as meters. The system unit setup is the one that you need to click on, and it's always 1.0. That's pretty much standard. Um, Next, you have this list right here of all the different whatever, uh, but you want meters, and just click OK. And then from there, do a quick rundown of the material editor. Now in Gmax, the icon is a little different. It has four little balls in there. So just click on that. I like to set my materials up. If I have, let's just say, one object, but I'm going to have 10 materials, then I'm going to set a multi-material. So all I have to do is just click on standard and then just double click on multi sub object right here. You can double click or just click OK, and this little window will pop up. You just click OK, and so it automatically defaults to 10. And so from there, this is the master name of your multi-material, and then down here, each one of these is the name of the material that you'll use. And then from there, you just name your material here again. And then to turn on, you always want to make sure that you click on this Show Standard Map in Viewport. And I pretty much do it in sequence. I'll do this first, I'll name it, and then if I'm going to do two-sided, you can click this, and whenever you open it or whenever you bring your model into into Previewer, it'll automatically be set to two-sided. So don't get in the habit of using two-sided. Pretty much the only thing that you want to use for two-sided is if you have like a flat plane and for like glass and stuff like that, or windows or whatever. And then just click on the maps right here, and then just click on or put a check for diffuse, and then click none, and then this window will pop up again, and then you just double click bitmap, and then you just locate your texture, and then from there you're set. And then just do the same for all the other ones, and then we'll do this. I'll just show you how to move something on the 0, 0 axis. This is the quickest and easiest way to do it, and this also works for vertices. So let's go in and we'll convert this to editable mesh. And as you can see here, that on the z-axis, it's already set to 0. That's because I made this box on the top view port. However, I want you to make the x and y the same, so just type in 0.0. Oops. Then 0.0. Now, it's exactly on the 0, 0, 0 axis. Alright, next, let's say you wanted to make this a ramp. Okay, now another thing to keep to remember is the x, y, z. The x-axis is side to side. The y-axis is front to back, and then of course the z-axis is up and down. Okay, so we'll go over here to the front viewport, and you'll notice that on the X it says 78 point minus 78.815. On this side it's going to be 78.815. So what you can do here is, now you could move it and get it as, you can move it and then zoom in. This is the way I used to do it, like this. I just keep zooming in until I got it as close as possible, and then I realized, why don't I just get this number right here, copy it, and then just paste it in there. Now it's exactly where those other vertices are. Alright, so even though it looks like we have just two vertices there, we still have 4. So if you select all of them, it'll show 4. And once you get in the habit of, anytime that you move vertices exactly in the same place, you always get in the habit of weld those vertices. One, as you can see, the shadows. Well, okay. But anyway, you saw that the shadows were, it was a little bit darker, and then whenever I welded it, it made it all one shadow. And not only that, but that's optimizing your object as you go. Another thing too is something that's on the ground normally, that would be on the ground, but because it's for there.com and people like to have stuff hovering, normally I would just delete that bottom polygon just to, optimize. But, like I said, because some people like to hover, have stuff hovering like this, if you delete it, that's what you're going to see in world, obviously. So it's just a matter of choice, but for this particular case, I'm not really worried about it. Another thing too, or a reason why, is if I always like to keep track of my poly count. I am very antsy about that, because when you start getting into high poly counts and high vertice counts, and you're going to start getting in a lag, and then once you start getting hundreds of different objects from different developers, that's really going to cause a lot of lag. So just try to be very conscious of that. But the way that you can check that is first select the object and then go up to edit and then object properties. Now this here tells you your meters on the X, Y, and Z axis. And then here I have 6 vertices. And then for some reason 3D Studio Max and Gmax describes this as faces. It's not faces, it's polygons. And I will explain that. Okay, it takes 4 vertices to make a flat surface. It takes 8 vertices to make a box. Okay, so I have 4 vertices here, and then I have a flat plane. Okay, and then that makes up a polygon. Oops. And then it takes 2 faces to make a polygon. So that's just the way 3D models work. And so that's pretty much that. I'm going to convert this to editable poly. I like to work in editable poly just because some of the functions are already put into the modifier list here, And pretty much the only buttons that you will ever use is, let's see, is probably extrude. Um, you can get into beveling and stuff like that, and I'll explain all that later on. Turn is for edges, and I'll get into that later on also. Create, this is where you create polygons. Let's say I want to delete that, and then I can just recreate a polygon. So you have your 4 vertices, and so you just click on each vertex here, and then it creates a polygon for you. Now sometimes 3D Studio Max will flip the polygon will be flipped inside out, and that can cause problems within there, and it can cause shadow problems. So just try to be watch for that, because like I said, that can cause problems later on. Next, you have well, you have the create, and then you have detach. That will actually detach the face, or that polygon. Next, if you detach that, then you can reattach it. Quick slice. Quick slice is a pretty cool tool to use, but I try not to use that too much. Excuse me. On angled stuff, and I'll get into that later on also. So that's pretty much everything that you'll ever need to use for there.com. So that's the quick rundown, and the next tutorial will be on creating the house that I have currently on my website. Let's see, let me open this up right quick. No. Yeah, and here it is. This is the finished product. This I will be showing you how to create this house through video, and it'll probably be in several videos, but be looking for that within the next few days. Alright, see you then. Ta-ta.